You have a wonderful program, wonderful speakers, and incredible moderators today. I would also recommend that you do as much networking as possible between yourselves. It's very important to share best practices with one another in the hope that you can find and build on your individual achievements on behalf of your fellow citizens of the world. Becoming involved in your communities is very important. Get involved in issues that are very dear to you. It's a first step. Start with global health. You can make a difference. I would like to conclude with a quote from our former Secretary General, Mr. Kofi Annan, who really was instrumental in bringing the role of civil society in the agenda of the United Nations. When we pull together from across the world and work together to solve a problem, we almost always can do it. When the world comes together, things happen. Together, we are the ultimate power. If we pull our efforts together, we can get almost everything done. All of us around the world, we the peoples. On that note, do not forget, you are the United Nations, we are the United Nations, together we can make a difference. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Maria Luisa. I hope that you will remember one of the most important points that she indicated to us during her presentation. And that is, she was highlighting networking as being important. And why? Because you learn from each other. You grow together. You can work together in your community. She pointed out the importance of community involvement. This is critical. Go back to your communities and take what you're learning today. And we thank you, Maria Luisa, for bringing that up. Now it is my pleasure to introduce Dr. Mary Norton, who is not only co-chair of the UN DPI NGO Planning Committee, but she is also chair of the conference, the global conference that is taking place in Australia. Dr. Norton is a wonderful person who began the process of organizing and planning the first Youth Free Conference. And it is from her that we all learned to take our next step. Dr. Norton.
Thank you very much. And if I could just have a little bragging rights, Dave Gavins, who is very instrumental in this conference, was a student of mine, and I'm very, very pleased. Thank you, Dave. I'm going to talk to you in bullet points because my reputation at Felician College is I have a dream speech. And people got so tired of hearing my speech, they asked for the Reader's Digest version. So this is what I'd like to share with you today. I'd like to refer you to the vision statement that's in your packet. And I think it's it would be very important if we could just look at that for a moment, because this vision statement is what has set the tone for this conference. And if you look in the first paragraph, it discusses what health is and what it is not. And we are not going to talk about management of disease. We think that global health places a priority, as the ambassador has said before. We need to look at what are the resources, and that includes people resources. We do not have enough healthcare providers throughout the world. Also, I wanted to tie the last 4 conferences into global health. My goal is to change people's idea of what health is. Health is not just disease, tuberculosis, malaria, but it is human rights. It includes disarmament. It has elements of climate change and, of course, human security and dignity. So with this background, this is how the conference has been organized. And as a result of this year we are looking for outcomes. Or as my colleague who is sitting in the back, Dr. Batterham, would you stand up, so please, so everyone can see you? He is the convener from Australia. And we have had some wonderful discussions on what is going to be the legacy of this conference. And what we are hoping is that a project would be developed. And the project we're looking at is clean water. Even if we achieve all of the MDGs, we are still going to have morbidity. Even if we lower death rates, people are still going to be sick. And they are sick because they do not have clean drinking water. Today, while we are all sitting here, 6,000 people will die because they have drunk impure water. That's an enormous statistic. So if you could think about that today, and what would you do to improve that situation? So this is my challenge to you, and it is the challenge for us as adults going to Australia as well. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Norton. I'm glad you mentioned the vision statement which you did craft. And I encourage all of our young people to use that as a tool for your own inspiration and understanding why we should be committed to achieving global health. It is a critical issue. Also, I really appreciated the fact that you emphasized outcomes. Whatever we do, we must always have in mind outcomes. And you will see that at the end of this conference day, we are going to be talking about outcomes for what you will have learned. But keep in mind, clean drinking water is at the base of our survival as a human race. So make a commitment. Do something. Thank you very much. I would now like to turn to a very special part of our program. You will see that we have a video message and the world premiere of an original musical composition in honor of youth committed to advancing global health and achieving the MDGs. It is the Anthem of Humanity by a composer friend of mine, Jonathan Baudet. Now I'm going to tell you a very quick story of how Jonathan and I met. A year ago, we were both attending a conference in the Santa Barbara area of California at the Pacifica Institute. And I just happened to be walking in the gardens, and I run into this amazing young man who's about 10 feet taller than I am. And I looked up, and I introduced myself, and we started talking. And both of us had the very distinct feeling there was a purpose to our meeting. We had no clue. And all I knew about him was that he was into music. I didn't know what kind of music or whatever. But we just had a distinct feeling there was a purpose to our meeting, and that we were going to become very unlikely friends, but friends after all. And that did happen. We shared some meals together with groups of other people, and one of my fondest memories is his telling me that I reminded him of the Oracle in the Matrix. Now, how many of you know the Matrix here? I did not take that as a compliment. But to him, he thought it was a big deal, so I said, well, okay, enjoy it. But over the year that has passed, we stayed in touch once in a while, emailing each other and checking on each other. And after I had gotten into the preparation of this conference, about 3 months along, I got an email from Jonathan just checking up on how I was doing. And at that moment, I knew that the time had come. It was time for that purpose to manifest. And so just off the top of my head, I said, Jonathan, I'm working on a conference for youth and global health and achieving the MDGs. And you are deeply committed to contributing to the well-being of humanity. Would you like to compose a musical piece specifically to inspire our young people in this direction, specifically for this event? And he was honored, and he was grateful and felt privileged. So I am now going to struggle with the technology and turn the time over to Jonathan. So I need some